When Charlie Kirk got killed, I was completely devastated, just like all of you watching this video right now. And I couldn't stop thinking about everyone close to Charlie. I couldn't stop thinking about Charlie's family, his kids, his friends, because I have lost a best friend as well. And I've lost a couple of other close friends too. So I understand that feeling. And I imagine that the feeling I had is nothing compared to the feeling of seeing your friend, your family, your father, your husband have their life taken for no reason at all on video for the world to see. I can't even begin to imagine what that feels like, and I just felt so terrible for everyone who ever knew or interacted with Charlie. And I felt so angry about what happened. I wanted answers, and you guys know how I am. I don't really trust the government. I don't really trust the FBI. A lot of you have gotten mad at me over recent months for calling out Kash Patel and how he has handled some things. So you guys know how I am. And when I saw that Candace Owens was going to start talking about Charlie's assassination, I was happy. I was excited because I thought that Candace Owens was Charlie's friend. I thought that Candace Owens actually wanted to get to the bottom of what happened to Charlie. I thought that it was a good idea that someone close to Charlie was speaking out about this. So I started watching her show. And you got to understand that as I'm watching Candace Owens, I am not watching through the lens of a regular fan or audience member that is there for an hour of entertainment in the afternoon. I am watching Candace Owens through the lens of someone who is actually researching this story myself. I'm watching Candace Owens through the lens of someone who researches these kind of stories on a daily basis, which is the only reason why any of you all are here right now. You're all here because you know I do research into these kind of stories and I make videos about it. So the way I watch her content is different than how maybe some of you watch it or how most of her fans watch it. So I'm watching and I keep noticing that she's getting things wrong. And look, we're all human. We get things wrong, right? I get things wrong too. But she's getting things wrong that are just way too easy to fact check and verify. And I'm starting to question, like, is she really doing the research? Does she really know what she's talking about? And I mean continuously. She's getting information wrong. And I start noticing a pattern. Because you see, I still have the ability to notice patterns. It's called pattern recognition. It's an ability that many humans have lost over recent years. But it used to be one of our basic survival instincts. You know, our ancestors would recognize patterns in animals. Hey, that animal is dangerous. The crocodile might eat you. We've seen it happen before. We noticed the pattern. Don't mess with the crocodile, right? You know, our ancestors would notice patterns and that's how they survived. Hey, those berries are poison berries. Every time I eat them or someone else eats them, they get sick. We're not going to pick those berries anymore. It's just pattern recognition. But in today's world, people have lost this ability. Not me. I still have the ability. So I'm noticing a pattern in most of her videos and her podcast, a pattern of just throwing out baseless theories that lead nowhere. And trust me, I look into them and they lead nowhere. And just putting out just blatantly wrong, easily debunkable, easily to verify that it's false, just information all over the place. And I sat by and I watched this go on for a couple of weeks before I said anything. Because I really didn't understand, like, what was truly going on with Candace Owens. But I knew it had to be one of three things. Either Candace Owens is stupid, incapable of doing the research, because she's putting out, I mean, like I said, just easily debunkable information. She's putting out stuff that if you do like 5 minutes of research, you could find the info, but she's not doing the 5 minutes of research. And she's supposed to be this great investigative journalist who is dead set on finding Charlie's killer. So I'm looking at the information she's putting out, and it's always wrong. So I'm thinking, is she either stupid and incapable of doing the research? Now, I don't think that Candace Owens is stupid. I think Candace is fully capable of doing the research. So why wasn't she? Now, the other option that a lot of people are floating out there, a lot of people are saying that Candace is crazy, she's gone insane, all of this stuff. Look, I think we need to move away from accusing people of being crazy just because we disagree with them. Just because you disagree with Candace Owens does not mean she's crazy. I do not think that Candace Owens has lost her mind, although a lot of people seem to believe that. They think that's why she's putting out this wrong information. Now, there's also a third option, which I think is the most likely option, which is that Candace Owens has her own agenda. She's putting out information often that she knows is wrong because she has her own agenda. And the facts to Candace don't matter. Getting to the bottom, the truth about what happened to Charlie, that's not Candace's number one priority. Because if it was, then she would do better research. It seems as if her number one priority is to, and I'm not sure exactly what her agenda is yet, but her number one priority is her agenda and her narrative. The truth comes last. Proving herself right comes first. So I just noticed that she's putting out all of this false information, and I'm thinking either she's stupid, she's crazy, or she knows exactly what she's doing, and she's doing it for a reason. Either for personal gain, either someone else has something to gain from this. I think there's a strong possibility that Candace Owens is purposely muddying the waters, putting out all of this crazy information to throw us off the trails of what we should really be looking into. I think she may be a chaos agent that is put here to make us look crazy when we ask questions. So if you don't believe the FBI, if you don't believe Cash Patel, if you don't believe this, you don't believe that, you'll be lumped in as crazy like Candace Owens, who says that Charlie is visiting her in her dreams and that people jumped out of trap doors and were part of bee cults and all of this other useless stuff that she has floated out there over the past few weeks. So I'm looking at all of these different possibilities, wondering what exactly her motive is, what exactly her agenda is. And then I noticed another trend. I noticed another pattern. You see, in some of her podcast episodes and often on social media, she puts out these random questions, right? Questions that I don't think she's really interested in having the answer to. Like, for example, on her podcast, she'll say, hey, we need to identify a guy who was there when Charlie got killed, a guy who had long hair, maybe a ponytail, maybe a man bun. You guys need to figure out who this is and let me know, right? She'll put out something like that, knowing that it's going to whip her audience up into a frenzy. And they're going to further torment themselves and corrupt their souls by watching Charlie get killed on repeat in slow motion all day long. These people watch Charlie. They watch the video of Charlie getting killed all day long on slow motion and repeat constantly. And they're doing it all over social media. They corrupt themselves by watching this constantly while picking out random students and people in the crowd that they deem as suspicious, and every day it's another person, and every day, oh, it's this person that killed Charlie, right? She knows that she's whipping up her fans into a frenzy when she does this. But she does it for, I don't know what the real reason is, because it never really goes anywhere. And the latest example of this is something that she did last night. I want to show you this post that she posted last night. A post that I was able to debunk very quickly. And now, because I have debunked it, Candace Owens fans are threatening to end my life. They're very upset that I have debunked a couple of her claims recently. But let's look at this post really quickly. So here's her latest post. So this is sort of crazy, but the man that cheered after Charlie got shot has actually never been fully identified. He is only known as David, and I am trying to get in touch with him because someone sent me some other relevant footage of him. Anyone know who this is? Now, folks, Candace Owens just put out this post claiming that this guy has not been identified, that no one knows who he is, and she's trying to get in touch with him. She claims that he was cheering in the crowd after Charlie got killed. Now, if you guys were following someone like me, or there's others out there as well, who actually do research, then you would know that I and others identified this guy within like 48 hours of Charlie getting killed. We knew his full name. We knew where he worked. We knew where he lived within 48 hours of Charlie getting killed. Okay? Yet here we have Candace Owens. She is supposedly the top investigative journalist in the world, who is the only person who cares about Charlie, the only person looking into his assassination. She's the only one investigating. Yet here she is claiming that this guy has not been identified, when in reality he was identified within 48 hours. This is old information. And you see, Candace Owens fans, a lot of them think it's something new. They think Candace Owens just digged something up. Because when people like me who actually do research were exposing this guy on day 2, Candace Owens had people going down stupid rabbit holes talking about trapdoors and cell phone guns and exploding mics and bee cults and Charlie Kirk dreams. So here she is a month late to the party, claiming this guy hasn't been identified. We know his full name. I'm not going to dox him in this video, but I already put out a video about this guy 4 weeks ago. But not just that, there are videos all over the internet. This guy's identity is all over the internet. If you know how to do research, it should only take you 2 minutes to identify this guy. But Candace can't for some reason. Candace is just incapable of figuring out who this guy is, even though he has interviews all over the internet. He has videos all over the internet. He actually has an X account and is active on X, but she can't find him or get in communication with him. Isn't that weird? And then she falsely claims that he was cheering after Charlie got killed. Now, I originally thought that he was cheering too, but I was able to dig up footage because I actually researched, unlike Candace Owens and her team. I was actually able to bring up footage showing that after Charlie got killed, he jumped in the air chanting USA. And there was a crowd of people that joined him in chanting USA. I think it's weird. And I'll be clear, this guy is definitely really weird. But it just goes to show that Candace is not doing the research. Either she's not doing the research, or she is purposely spreading false information and old information for her agenda. Not sure which one it is, but I will provide evidence that may lean towards what it is in just a moment. First, I want to show you the video clip that Candace Owens, her whole entire research and investigative team, and over 7 million followers were not able to find this clip, and they still don't know who this guy is. A guy that was identified within 48 hours because people do real research. But here's the clip of him chanting USA. Let's go ahead and watch that, and then I'll be right back. Okay, folks, so now here's where things get even worse. So not only did Candace put this post out falsely claiming that he was cheering, even though, we were able to find out that he was chanting USA for whatever reason. I'm not saying that it's not weird. It's weird. But an entire crowd of people joined in and chanting USA. The same thing happened after Trump got shot. Now, I already have a video out that I put out like over a month ago as Candace fans were going down needless rabbit holes and I was doing the real research. I already put out a video about a month ago where this guy sat down and provided excuses and tried to explain his actions. Definitely still really weird. But the point is, the entire internet, and when I say entire internet, the entire internet besides Candace Owens fans already looked into this guy. We already knew who he was. This is old information. Yet Candace, I guess, is incapable of doing a 3-minute Google search where you could find this guy's name. And like I said, we know where he lives, works, all of that good stuff. So it was odd to me that here we have Candace, someone who people are relying on to be the main voice in Charlie Kirk's investigation, yet over a month later, she doesn't even know who this guy is, and she can't do the research to figure out who he is, and she's claiming that he has not been identified, even though he was identified for a 100% fact. So I start questioning, why would you put out this information? Why is Candace continuously putting out like these questions like, hey, can you find this guy in the crowd? Or can you find this guy? Hey, can you find out this guy's last name? But here's what really rubbed me the wrong way. Because I personally know people who have reached out to Candace with information, and she does not get back to those people. You could reach out to Candace with information about people who were in connection with Tyler Robinson that knew Charlie was going to get killed. She doesn't entertain any of that information. She will not get back to you. In fact, this guy in the video who was chanting USA, his best friend actually tried to reach out to Candace and send her the video and tell Candace his name, and she won't get back to him. Because the reality is, Candace is not interested in the answers to the questions that she is asking her audience. You see, Candace Owens has a tip line, so you can send her tips about the case. She doesn't really read most of these tips. She doesn't really reply or get back to most of the people that send the tips. In fact, her fans for like the last month have been constantly complaining that they're sending her information that they think will solve Charlie's death, but her tip box is full, right? So her tip box is always conveniently filled, and people are trying to send tips. They're desperate to solve Charlie's murder, and they, in their mind, they really think that Candace is desperate to solve this case as well. They, in their mind, think, hey, I just saw this video, I got this tip, I gotta show Candace. So they're reaching out to her tip line, but the tip line is always filled. And just like this guy's best friend said, she doesn't even reach out back to you when you identify the people she's looking for or have answers for her questions, because she doesn't want the answers to her questions, and she doesn't want the tips in her tip line. You see, a lot of people, for most people, the Charlie Kirk situation is a time-sensitive situation, right? For Candace Owens viewers and for all of us, there's a sense of urgency. When trying to figure out who killed Charlie and what happened to Charlie, there is a sense of urgency for all of us except Candace Owens. I mean, really think about it. Your best friend gets killed. You got information to solve his death. But instead of releasing that information, you tell everyone, be sure to tune into my podcast on Monday where I'll help solve Charlie's death. And then, we'll have to take a break for a little while, but come back to my podcast where we'll ask more questions, right? There's no sense of urgency for Candace. In fact, she's trying to spread this stuff out as long as she can. If you are really urgently trying to solve someone's death, you put out the information as you get it. You don't wait until, it's time for podcast day. It's 5 o'clock on Tuesday. It's podcast day. Now I'll try to solve my friend's death. That's not how this works. So for Candace, there's no urgency. For everyone else, there is urgency. And these people in their minds believe when they watch these slow motion videos online and they see people doing hand signals in the crowd, they think they're solving Charlie's death. And they urgently try to reach out to Candace, but they can't get to her via her tip line. So what do they have to do? You see, Candace has another way that you can interact with her personally. Okay? And Candace's friends or her fans, they call this a side gig for Candace. You see, if Candace's tip line is full, you could reach out to Candace. You could call Candace urgently to tell her your Charlie Kirk theories. The only problem is Candace Owens is charging people. She's charging her fans $1,500 per minute to call her to have a discussion with her about their Charlie Kirk theories. So let's just say you have the smoking gun that can solve Charlie Kirk's murder. You can't reach out to Candace via her tip line, so the only way you could reach her is you have to call her directly. Now, if you call her directly, it costs $1,500 a minute. Let's say it takes 15 minutes for you to really get out all of the information that you need to get to her, right? Because even though she's desperate to solve Charlie's murder, she's only willing to give people 15 minutes of her time. Well, if you have a theory or information to give Candace, and it takes you maybe 15 minutes to explain that information, it's going to cost you over $22,000. So Candace Owens is floating out all of these questions, knowing that people are going to come to her with answers to her question, or people are going to come with, oh my God, I saw this guy in the crowd and this guy in the crowd, and they can't reach her through their tip line, so they're literally spending $1,500 to call her and tell her their Charlie Kirk theories. Or they're spending $100 to send Candace a text message to tell her, hey Candace, you need to watch the latest slow motion video of Charlie getting killed. Notice the guy to the right. You see how he does his hand? You see how this guy checked his watch? Folks, middle-aged wine moms who are in Candace Owens' book club, who are delusional enough to think that they're solving Charlie's murder, they are running through their entire life savings trying to help Candace solve this murder, paying her $1,500 a minute to talk to her about their theories and about what they noticed in the latest slow motion Charlie Kirk video. It's sad to watch. It is so sad to see. But hey, at least now we know why she's constantly asking questions. Hey guys, can you identify this person? Did you see this person in the crowd? Reach out and let me know. It's only going to cost you $1,500 a minute to tell me your whacked out Charlie Kirk theory, and I'll play into it and I'll act like I'm interested so it can go over a minute, and before you know it, you just spent $15,000 to tell me about some slow motion video that you watched on Twitter. So all of these questions, I don't think that Candace Owens is this stupid that she couldn't identify that guy. Someone who has been identified, someone who is on the internet, he's not hiding. He's literally did multiple interviews. I don't believe that she's too dumb to figure out who that guy is. I think that she believes her fans are dumb enough to give her money to try to answer her questions for her. That's what I think. But I'm going to continue looking into things. It's really been a sight to see. As I said, though, now that I've debunked a couple of her posts, and once I put this information out, Candace Owens fans are now threatening to silence me forever, aka kill me. So yeah, it's getting weird. If something happens to me, you can blame Candace Owens fans. For now, though, you guys let me know what you think about this down in the comments below. While you're down there, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, ring that notification bell, and I'll talk to you all very soon in the next one.